Hi there, it's John from Commercial Real Estate Online. Welcome to the program. Welcome to the ideas for commercial real estate agents around the world. In today's topic, I want to talk about industrial property. And I want to take you into some ideas about inspecting industrial property so you can win more listings. There is no point in being a generic agent in this property market. You must be specific. You must provide real recommendations in a definite way. And that's how you win more listings. That is the way it is. So we'll have a look at this particular chart. And of course, that can take you forward with what you're doing in your particular location. At the end of this video, I'll put in a link or show you where to get the chart download so you can then reference all the things I'm talking about. Now, the chart itself, when you look at it, is many different things. Indeed, it is 10 different things. In each one of these aspects, there are many different topics to talk about. So today I'm going to talk about property details, industrial property details. So you can win the listing. You can say things, do things, be more professional as an agent talking about industrial property. So where would you start? Just think about property details for the moment and say, well, what would you look into? What would you show the client that you are really thorough with? What would you question with the client to show your thoroughness about property detail? So let's have a look at that. I'll put some categories here for you. Size and configuration, of course, land area and zoning, structural features, access and loading facilities, and then owner questions. Now, in each one of these, there is a group of ideas to think about, some questions to raise. So let's have a look at them. Size and configuration. Well, I guess you know what that probably is. But have you thought about these things? Confirming the exact size of the warehouse and the office spaces. Checking the property layout, including the clear span areas, column spacing and office to warehouse ratio. Those things there will, if you like, make or break a particular lease deal for a tenant who's looking for a particular industrial property. Then we have car parking, of course, and car parking is so important in our game. Businesses today have people, staff, customers who need to park the car. So what is the car parking? How does it work? And how does it fit into these other three categories in size and configuration? Because that is the basic information that you need. So we go further. We'll shut that area down and we'll go into this one, which is all about land area and zoning. Now, again, you're probably thinking, well, you know what those things could be. But have you thought about these? The land size, the zoning classification. Have you looked into the plans for the property? Have you got a copy of the survey plans? Do you know where the survey pegs actually are on the boundaries? Are they on the boundaries? Are the fences on the boundaries? You need to know these things because if you sell or lease a property with fences or pegs that are in the wrong spot, that can create difficulty for you from an agent perspective as the deal moves on or the occupancy moves on. So then, of course, investigate allowable uses under the local planning regulations for that particular property. What is allowed in that property? You've got to know what is allowed. Then we go from that particular group to this group, structural features. I would have a serious look at the building, inspecting the construction materials, the fabric, the roof type, the condition. I want to know if there are any problems in the building which could create issues in occupancy and or ownership in an ongoing way. Because as you probably know, in this game of commercial real estate, people like to come back to us and ask plenty of questions and even say that we were misrepresenting the case to them, whatever it might have been that we didn't tell them. So the question is, did we ask enough questions of the property owner at the time of listing the property? So that is inspecting construction materials, roof type, condition, and then noting the clearances, the floor loading capacities, and the building age. Very important questions. You go from there into this particular group, access and loading facilities. If it's an industrial building with a warehouse, then these things will be important. Access points. In other words, where do people get in and out of the property? How do they do it? Is it legally possible through the gateways, given the council regulations, etc.? Loading docks, roller doors and parking. So how does all of that work for the occupant? Then look at truck manoeuvring. So if the particular occupant, the new owner or even the tenant, is going to have trucks visiting that property, look at how trucks can enter the property, how they can manoeuvre, where they can park, what sort of loading aprons would there be adjacent to the main buildings, what loading docks are there, and of course proximity to transport routes if things have to be delivered to ports, railheads, airports, that sort of thing. So once you've touched on all of that, you've got quite a good set of information. But then you've got some owner questions. So I would then go into these. The contamination and environmental questions. Are there any issues like that? If there are, you need to get the facts. Then, of course, the reason for selling. There will be reasons for the selling of the property by the current owner. Find out what that is. See if it's true. Or is there some other property problem they're trying to get away from? Be very careful there. Next, the history of the property ownership. How long have they owned the property? Of course, the age of the property, how long they've owned it, and then, of course, look at the builder of the property if you can find that out, if it's a newish property. Then you go into these things, which are all geared around the title. That will be the boundaries. I said to you before, look at the survey plans for the property. Look at the boundaries. Look at the survey pegs if you can find them. Ascertain that the boundaries are where they should be. Have a look at the rights of way and easement on the property to ensure that there are no other rights of way or encumbrances or covenants which could impact the occupant of the property. And that should be on the title, of course, but ask questions. The improvements on the property will be a building of some type. Is it an approved building? Has it the building approval for what it is? Then ask for plans and drawings of the property in its constructed phase, the as-built drawings as we call them. And then, of course, if you're looking at tenancies within the building, then there will be tenant drawings as well of the fit-out. Then there'll be orders and notices, of course. Those particular things will be relevant to the property. There might be things that need to be done. They could be health orders, emergency safety orders, environmental orders, all sorts of things. Ask about them. Get copies of them. Ask at the local council to see if there's anything active. And then you'll get the tenant details and the leasing history. Now that particular area there all comes back to the lease. Now you might be given a tenancy schedule. The big problem with a tenancy schedule is that it's not always accurate. So you've got to look at the lease in addition to the tenancy schedule to make sure that the tenancy schedule is accurate and that you know all the ins and outs of the lease itself. Now the lease might be a lease of an area for the occupant. There might also be some special licenses which are separate to the lease. The licenses will relate to special areas which the tenant can use on the property as well. Typically, licenses are for periods of 12 months. Leases are for periods longer than that, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 years or even longer. So, when you look at this, they are the things relating to property details. Quite a number of things there for you. I'll just reopen them up for you and scan them down so you can see them again. At the top, size and configuration, then land area and zoning, structural features, access and loading facilities, owner questions. When you've done all of that, you've got a pretty good idea of what the property is all about. So that's it for this particular video. In the next video, I'll go into the lease details and then I'll continue on through these particular topics, all relating to industrial property investigations. Now, I've got some different resources here for you. Let's have a look at the first one. And this particular resource I'll give you today, the post to look at is a simple industrial property inspection form to use. That's it there. And the simple search on the website is commercial-realestate-training.com. Go to the website, search that out, a simple industrial property inspection form to use, and then, of course, download it. There it is there. You can download it and use it. And then, of course, you can add things to it as you may require in your location. So that's it for now. of course, come back to the channel in a day or so and I'll give you another video relating to this particular task and chart. Thanks for listening. This is John Hyman from Commercial Real Estate Online, signing off for now. Catch you soon.